Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Elizabeth, although my friends call me Ellie or E for short. So, what do we have here today? A couple weeks ago, I made a video that I titled "The Unhinged Males Keeping Feminism Alive" or something like that. And it was a video that took me to darker corners of the so-called manosphere, specifically incel spaces. And though not all of the manosphere wants to associate with these guys, at the end of the day, the manosphere doesn't have strict rules of adherence. It is a loose collection of blogs, forums, content creators, etc. That's my own understanding of it, at least. Everyone seems to have a slightly different definition. More mainstream spaces, for example, like Wikipedia, define it similarly and say that the space essentially promotes masculinity, misogyny, and opposition to feminism, as well as saying it is a loose collection of blogs and content, etc. Now, the reason I bring this up is not really to discuss the manosphere and its possible merits or harms, but rather someone suggested I take a look at female creators and spaces that mirror the online manosphere. At first, my thought was, isn't that just feminism? But feminism in reality is a much larger thing than simply online spaces for women. Feminism is a movement that has the backing of academia and mainstream media for now, and also they've only been around for 100 years or so, give or take. Today is not the time to discuss feminism either, but a space that truly more closely mirrors the online manosphere, though the scope that they have is simply still much smaller than the manosphere blogs, although I wouldn't be surprised if we see it grow in the next few years, especially if there's a reaction to the more vile and bitter content of the manosphere. I was suggested to look at the forum Female Dating Strategies and the bloggers like Cynthia G and Shira7. For today, I will only focus on the forum since I don't really want to get into individual creators without doing more of a contrast possibly with other manosphere creators. Possibly, I don't know, it might be fun. What exactly is female dating strategy? Okay, this is a forum that has gone back for a while, so it's a little bit hard to define if we're just talking about what people say on there. From what I could gather, it started as a forum on Reddit, but it has now moved on to its own website called thefemaledatingsstrategy.com. So I did a bit of research, and according to an article on The Verge, FDS for short, started in 2019 as a, quote, female-only forum. The Verge says, on a base level, much of female dating strategies advice makes sense. For women who have dealt with trauma at the hands of men in their relationships, FDS's guidelines, like a man must treat you like a queen from the start and don't settle for less, can serve as a practice in boundary setting, and the forum can offer a supportive community for those who may not otherwise have one. Many FDS members talk about how FDS changed their lives. One user said FDS helped them block a manipulative guy they've been seeing for years. Another said the community helped her leave an abusive relationship. Much of the basic advice in FDS can be helpful in learning one's worth and relearning how to assert boundaries as an adult. It goes on, FDS's approach to dating shares some behaviors with traditionally male and radical relationship subreddits, like pickup artists. Female dating strategy often objectifies the opposite gender and turns dating into a sort of game to be won. Just in their case, it isn't having intimacy that's the prize, but finding a high-value male. Both communities will often blame women for the ways men treat them. Interesting. Especially how you can see women in these spaces and women in general have a different goal than men. So when men say things like women can have as much, SEX as they want, that's really not what women want. that may be how these men would behave if they suddenly have a female body, but that's just not how women behave in general. In general, okay, I understand there's a small percentage of women that act like this. I recommend this book called When Men Behave Badly, I believe. He talks about the percentage of women specifically that are like this, that are hypersexual. So I'll link the article in the description below, but I'll say that The Verge frames some stuff that the FDS does as bad. Like, for example, the fact that they're conservative when it comes to dating and that they're against BDSM or porn, if you know what I mean, or any of the deviant stuff. And, I haven't really read enough FDS. I haven't read enough of how they frame that stuff. And I might disagree on how they frame it, but in general, I do think it isn't bad to be conservative and old school in the dating world. Okay, so I might even agree with them in that sense. So I sort of disagree with The Verge and how they looked at that stuff. Okay, so enough talk about how others perceive FDS. Let's go take a look. So apparently, members of FDS have to adhere to FDS rules. That kind of sounds like a cult, but it's not a cult, I think. They have to read their ideology section when it comes to dating. And so let's take a look at that first. This is the ideology. They also have a handbook, which I might look in the future. I might look to in the future, but for now, let's stick to this because otherwise I could imagine this video could go on for a while. The ideology, number 1, be a high value woman. Okay, what does that mean exactly? A high value woman is a woman who doesn't revolve her life around men. Okay, she has her own career, hobbies, and a great social life that fulfills her emotional needs. So if she does welcome a man in her life, he better be amazing. So far, I don't have that many issues or any issues with what they've said. Maybe the phrasing of he better be amazing could be, but at the end of the day, you want to think that your boyfriend or your husband is amazing, an amazing person. So yeah, of course. A high value woman also doesn't romanticize men's true nature. Ooh, this is started to sound familiar with me exploring the Manosphere. See them for what they truly are, their true female nature. Sounds very similar. Therefore, she is cautious around them and wants them to prove themselves to her before she gets emotionally attached. Now, my question is, what does that mean exactly? What does that mean to prove themselves to you? But I do agree with the idea that don't get emotionally attached if a man is not, and I don't like to use this word because it does sound transactional, but investing time and energy into this blooming or blossoming relationship. Many women get attached to men that are just not into them and giving them scraps or breadcrumbing them little by little, but we have to be smarter than that, girlies. Number 2, if a man isn't chasing you, he's not that into you. Okay, yeah. A man's role is to be the pursuer. I understand that some people will not agree with this. We women can pursue as well, and blah, blah, blah. I got plenty of that kind of commentary when I talked about Bumble, but I get it. You can do it, but at the end of the day, if he's not doing anything, that's a little bit of a red flag. Come on. Okay, I'll keep going. A man's role is to be the pursuer, the one to convince you that he is the right man for you. As a woman, you don't have to prove yourself to him. He either sees your value or he doesn't. The only thing that's within your control is working on becoming your best self. Here, there's certain things that I maybe think could have been framed slightly differently. I question how he's going to see your value other than just getting to know you. And same thing with the woman getting to know him. If they're meeting up, if he's inviting her on dates and she's showing up as her best self, her authentic self, then yes, I don't think she should have to be answering questions like, what do you bring to the table? I think that's super cringe. I think you kind of get to know the person and figure out if this is the right person for you or not, and what do they bring to the table based on what the conversations are that you guys talk about. I don't know. That's just me. Convince you that he's the right man for you. I mean, yes and no. You guys have to both see and be convinced by the other, but it's not like a salesmanship type situation. Like, I don't like the idea of like you having to sell yourself to the person, neither of you, but you guys just gotta be yourself. And I know it sounds cliche, but don't fake it with that person, and then you'll know if there's real compatibility. He doesn't know if he's the right one for you unless he gets to know you. I don't really think that a man can possibly know that either of you are right for each other without properly getting to know each other first. But that's just me. Okay, maybe I'm not expressing myself correctly. I'm improvising here, guys. I'm riffing. Okay, the next one. Most straight men aren't relationship material for you. Interesting. Let's see what they say here. The majority of the advances you receive from men are not of any value because the majority of them are from men who only want to use you for sex. Many men are sex driven, low effort, and entitled. However, there are also men out there who can be amazing boyfriends and husbands who know how to be a man and how to take care of you in all ways. Yes, I agree that there's definitely men out there that are amazing as boyfriends and husbands. I have one of those and I'm very happy to have one. But when I met him, I remember thinking this is a rare gem. I definitely agree to the extent that the majority of the time that I was being hit on, I didn't think it was not with good intentions, but like the desire that what they wanted from me was something that was of, let's say, of lower vibrations, if you know what I mean. I was not interested in that stuff. Okay, so the fourth one goes into this a little bit. As women, we have the responsibility to be ruthless in our evaluation of men. At the end of the day, like, if you really think about it, it is for your own safety and your own time. And I see this all over the internet all the time. Women wasting their life, and they're so infatuated with a man that they cannot see what's right in front of them. You know that this man is not interested in you long term. And also, at the same time, there's also the safety issue. For the most part, I had the rules of not getting into a car with someone that I didn't know well, or going into anyone's place by myself, any of that stuff. Of course, like sometimes you mess up here and there, but try not to, because it is very important for safety. And when it comes to us as women, they say we do ourselves and humanity no favors, allowing men to exhibit subpar behavior and be rewarded with our attention. Thus, be ruthless in cutting off men who add no value to your life. Happiness, emotional security, and financial. Okay, I'll say that I've noticed in some male spaces, some male content creators and whatever, that they would agree with this sentiment, that if women don't have higher standards, then men will not go and meet that bar. That if women lower their standards, then men will also be more than willing to go and meet that low bar. But if we raise it, then also they're gonna get themselves together and meet that higher expectation, higher bar. So there are men that do believe in this idea, that depending on where our expectations are, they're gonna try to meet it. And if you're someone that will take nothing but a text to get you to go home with them, then many men will be looking for the easiest way to get that kind of access, because they know that there's a lot of women willing to do that. But if that's a very difficult thing to get, then they'll know they have to put in a little bit more effort. So yes, I do agree that a big part is what we're willing to accept. Then the next one is, don't have sex before commitment has been established if you're looking for a relationship, or before he has demonstrated value and investment if you're looking for friends with benefits. Guys, why are we looking for friends with benefits at this point? Again, I know a lot of people won't agree with me, but I just don't see the point of that type of situation. Someone will get their feelings, someone will get their heart broken, someone will get feelings involved. I just don't think that FWBs are a good idea. If a man is really into you and sees you as girlfriend material, he'll commit to you in 2 months. or 3 months max. If you're looking to have a dependable friend with benefit, you must still require investment from him, so he provides you the respect and fun times you want. I don't really get the point of that second aspect, and I don't really get why men would go along with it either, but I have not gone into that world at all, so I'm at a loss here. And number 6, generous men are non-negotiable. While we believe in having your own career and making your own money, a man still has to add financial value to your life and make you feel like he can take care of you. This means not splitting the bill and not dating financially challenged men. This one's a tough one because my background, I grew up in Latin America. My friends and like male family members, they will not let me pay when we're out for lunch, for example. If I'm just out for lunch with my cousin, he does not let me pay. And if I go out with my uncles and my dad, they will literally get into fights about who will pay for the meal. Now, this has all sorts of implications, like this is a cultural thing, also socioeconomic backgrounds, I'm not sure. But for me, it was definitely weird to meet someone that when I would go out with them, they would want to split the bill with me, even though it was a date. And don't worry, whenever I got that feeling, whenever I felt that person wanted to split the bill, I would split the bill. I just would lose a little bit of attraction for them. I know, what a horrible thing, but like, it's just the way it is. Some women will not mind to do that, but personally, it was just a feeling I would get. It was not something that I could rationally explain. And a lot of the times, also, if I went out with someone that I realized on the date, hey, you know what? I don't like this person. I don't think I'm going to go out with them again. My personal way to let them know this is where it ends is me splitting the bill. Kind of like, okay, like we go on our separate ways now. So I don't know. This one on splitting the bill, it's really, I think a big part of it is cultural and from woman to woman. I guess it's up to each person. I mean, you want an old school woman that's also gonna split the bill with you. That might be a little bit hard to find. So it's up for each girl to, and each man also. If a man only wants to date a girl who will split the bill with him, then go ahead. You find your girl that will split the bill with you. There's plenty of couples that do that. I don't know why this has to be a point of contention for some people. Let's go on to the forum for a moment. Okay, so this is a website. As you can see, the female dating strategy website. And then we have the forum. They have categories. Let's see what the categories are. Top posts today, ask the admin, dating and relationships, the court. Okay. Mind, body, and soul. So fitness and nutrition, mental health, skincare, spirituality. Oh, there's all kinds of things in here. Pick me's, male depravity, feminism and womanism, life level up, general shenanigans, entertainment. There's so much on here. Okay, so this is gonna be. I might have to investigate this forum a little bit more to make an even more in-depth video about it. But this is more of a casual look at the female dating strategy. So let's look at all posts and let's click most comments. Okay, so one of them is on male validation and attention, centering men in our narrative, but this looks like they're pinned. So let's see what the other ones are. Is monogamy really the most beneficial dynamic for women? Interesting. I would not have expected to see this here. This question, they've definitely asked about monogamy in the Manosphere spaces, but I did not expect that here. What are some dating cultural stereotypes based on a guy's nationality that turned out to be true? I believe Amber Heard. Ooh. Okay. Man, that one's crazy. Should I look at that one? I don't know. I'm kind of flabbergasted right now. I believe Amber Heard. Oh my god. I can't with this. I made a video about the Amber Heard thing. I watched that whole trial, guys. That woman is a liar. And yes, women can in fact be the abusers in relationship and be the liars. I went to an all-girls school. There's definitely liars among our ranks of women. They exist. Oh my God, I just flabbergasted that that's a forum thing. Should we just take a peek? I don't want to read the whole thing, but that's crazy to me. Okay. I believe Amber Heard. Yup, that's pretty much it. Fully and completely. I absolutely believe her. In her testimony yesterday about Johnny Depp. Okay, so this must be... Yeah, this is in 2022. In her testimony yesterday about Johnny Depp raping her with a liquor bottle was absolutely horrific. Watching her break down on the stand was heartbreaking, and I was moved to tears. Depp has used the court system to abuse this woman, and his rabid Unhinged fans are happy to throw even more horrendous abuse toward her. The public drawing and quartering she's receiving is abhorrent. The glee people are tearing her down with is revolting, all because people refuse to believe that their hero Depp could be so monstrous. Men like him aren't rare, especially in Hollywood. Hello, like, she was a C-level actress, very pretty. And when she said that Johnny Depp abused her, everyone believed her. Johnny Depp got kicked out of projects. He was ostracized from Hollywood. I didn't believe her then, but mostly because I was not really paying attention to what was going on in Hollywood at all. And back then I did listen to the audios that were circulating online that were played in the courts. And I was like, this is really bad for her. But not because I had anything against her from the beginning. In fact, I saw her in the Rum Diaries and I loved her. I thought she was beautiful. I was really in awe of this woman when I first saw her. But I didn't know anything about her personal life. I didn't know anything about his personal life. So it's not something I cared about at the time. This is mind-blowing, though, that people still believe Amber Heard. Okay, so this for me is a red flag when I see this type of thing, that you're willing to believe someone despite the overwhelming amount of evidence to the contrary. There's so much stuff in that trial that for me it would be so difficult to believe that he faked that whole thing. That despite all the evidence that he had against her, it was actually him abusing her. I don't know. I would say to men, whenever they find a woman that believes Amber Heard, run away. That one is crazy to me. Some of the comments, I'm horrified that they cited in his favor. Absolute injustice. I fear living in America as a woman. I want out of this hellscape. Heard's problem, she's not a virgin, she is a virgin. Hasn't dressed in a burqa, been dressed in a burqa, wears makeup, hasn't worn makeup. This is so ridiculous. That for me is not at all like why I did not believe her. This is crazy to me. I think part of the reason is because so many of these women are deeply biased against men because of their own past experiences. And I could empathize with that if I knew what their past experiences were. That they cannot see like the reality in front of them. This one's crazy, honestly. Yeah, I'm so disturbed by all the women willing to paint her as a liar with zero insider information. You have zero insider information about him. Zero. You only have her word. And then you have a lot of expert testimony. You have audio recordings, video recordings from him that prove his case. So what does she have other than using makeup to fake her injuries? Honestly, it's so interesting because they're saying, I'm so disturbed by all the women willing to completely paint her as a liar with zero insider information. So we're just supposed to do the complete opposite. We're just supposed to paint him as an abuser with zero insider information, just her words. If it comes to a case of his words against her words, then we must believe her. despite all the evidence to the contrary? Or do we have to have some insider information? That is crazy to me. And then we had a woman that came to the trial and testified that Amber Heard lied about this woman's experience in the past. So is this woman lying? What was her name? Someone that Johnny Depp dated in the past, I forget. That's crazy. I'm flabbergasted, guys. I am flabbergasted. Okay, let's see. What are some things pick-me's need to hear? Okay, I feel like this will give us a more accurate look at how women in these forums think. Okay, what are some things that pick-me's need to hear? I saw a question on Reddit that asked what men need to hear, so I'm curious to know the same for pick-me women. This person says, no amount of male validation will ever feel the emptiness you feel, no matter how hard you try to convince yourself it does. Nor will it come close to being as fulfilling as finally learning genuine self-love and self-acceptance. Male approval is worthless. And to add to that, with this mind, you're taking an L anytime you choose to appeal to men over that of women. Only broke men complain about gold diggers. Also, when men become wealthy, they tend to upgrade their partner and pursue those gold diggers. The woman who stuck it out with them gets left because the man looks down on her for being in that situation with him to begin with. I don't think this is true, but okay. I know of plenty of women that got married to a man that when they married him, he was not in a great financial situation, and then they built up their wealth. I just think a lot of these people are chronically online. Absolutely, it can happen, but I just don't think it's every man. So you don't win anything for holding him down or being a ride or die. Yeah, I mean, I do think that the majority of people that complain about gold diggers do not have gold to dig. But I do think that gold diggers are real. Like Sheer 7 always says, if you build him, he will leave. Period. Damn, okay. I better watch out with my hubby then. Doesn't like you, he likes what you can do for him. Okay, so I'm sorry. I saw another post and I wish I had saved it, about how their relationships have to be. And this is what someone was writing on this forum, and how the man essentially has to do everything for her, take care of her, pay for her, all these things that he's doing for her, right? And in that sense, women are saying, if this man is doing everything for you, then yes, you can accept him. So isn't that the same thing here? He doesn't like you, he likes what you can do for him. Isn't that the same type of demand you're imposing on him? I don't know. I think to an extent we like how the person makes us feel, what they do for us. It's not limited to that, but I think that's part of it for sure. Then women need to stop projecting their own empathy and ability to deeply love onto men. Okay, let's see. Stop making yourself so available. Replying to his texts can wait until after you finish your assignment. Reschedule his short notice date to a time that works best for you. You have to work in the morning, so no, you can't talk on the phone all night, and so on. Otherwise, you look desperate, have no life, and lack boundaries. Never put your life and yourself on hold for others, especially men. If the roles were reversed, he'll put himself first every time. I'll say this. I do agree with this. I remember I met this guy years ago, and he would call me up for last-minute dates, and I remember one night particularly, I went out with my friend for a movie, and then I was going home to go to sleep because I had work the next day. And this guy called me and let's meet up at a bar or whatever. And I said no, because I want to go to sleep early, and you're literally just letting me know now. He got upset with me, and I told him I can't just meet you last minute every time you ask. And he said that he was looking for someone serious. And I said, well, I'm sure that you are, but this is just not how I organize my life. I can't meet you last minute. So I don't think this is going to work. I told him, you got to go look for someone that is willing to drop everything last minute and go meet you, because that's just not me. I'm sorry. And that's how it ended. He was so intense. So yeah, I think that we do have to have some boundaries and not willing to drop every single thing last minute to go meet them because you really wanted to see them. But I understand that's harder said than done if you really like the guy. Then another one, it says if he wanted to, he would. Yeah, men ain't shit. Stop acting like a fool over men. Stop giving men money, presents, stop babying them. They're not children. letting them go into your home, letting them eat your food, letting them borrow your car, letting them ruin your credit card and rental history, letting them talk smack about you to your friends and family, letting them have unprotected, letting them get you pregnant before marriage. Stop getting off on the drama men cause. Stop making your bad relationship your whole personality. If you don't want men to treat you like trash, then stop behaving like trash and show some respect for yourself and your worth. If you had a daughter, would you let a man treat her the way you let men treat you? If your best friend was being treated the way your man treats you, would you tell her to dump him and that she deserves better? Yeah, obviously this is not a situation where everyone has found themselves in, but I would say you need to listen to the people around you. If you know that the people around you are going to disapprove of how this person is treating you, I would say it's time to take a hard look at that relationship, at that connection. If you don't want to tell people how he's treating you because you know that they're going to call you out, then maybe it's time to take a look at the relationship. And I know of someone that got married to a guy that did not treat her the best, and her best friend called her out for her acceptance of this treatment. And unfortunately what happened was that she cut off that best friend and uninvited her to the wedding. So it's not always easy. Sometimes you gotta work on yourself and your self-esteem, because what I know is that girl that cut off her best friend because her best friend wanted her to see her worth and that this man was not treating her correctly, is that this girl had low self-esteem and she didn't think she was going to find anyone else to marry her, and that's why she accepted subpar treatment. I do wonder how that relationship is going to play out. They're still together. That didn't happen that long ago, but I don't think this is necessarily about women or about men. I do think that this can happen across the board. Men can get mistreated by women. Men can have low self-esteem and let a woman step all over them. Obviously, the results can be very different because of the special vulnerability that women can find themselves in. But I do think when it comes to being mistreated and when it comes to self-esteem issues, it can happen to both us, men and women. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Otherwise, the video will be super long. But if you're interested in me going through more female dating strategy, let me know, and I'll see you next time.